have to break our generational patterns that are negative in our life and detrimental to our kids, to our relationships, to our business.
Hi friends, welcome to Shine with Marilena Cortez and Mark Sedgwick. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Emmanuel Oboh.
Yeah, very happy to be here today. Very happy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And
Yes,
we're here in this beautiful building in Colorado, Denver downtown. So hopefully you can see the background and the scenery. And we were able to set up here in this skyrise. So thank you also for providing the venue.
Thank you, Marianne, a wonderful friend here. You guys have been wonderful. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. We're glad you can join us. We want to start off the podcast with tell the audience how you guys met. It was kind of a crazy story, so I want to...
Yeah, so I just want to say that I was starting, or actually I was ending my year of 2020, kind of lonely, thinking of some ways I could improve my 2021, and I decided to, log in, connect, walk around the city of downtown, and I saw this place, and I was like, I want to live in a high-rise apartment building. Yes. So guess what? The universe connected me to Emmanuel and another girl named Taran.
Yes, of
and
course.
We became friends, and the rest is history. I ended up spending my last day of 2020 here in downtown Denver with these amazing people that I now can call my friends. So I think when you change your channel, no matter what you're going through, and you just throw it out there, the universe will put you with the right people, the right places, and who knows?
Maybe the right opportunities and all that kind of stuff.
So.
If you have faith and you believe and you carry yourself well, the universe will align and you'll meet great people. That's just how it goes. So.
I love it.
And we instantly clicked. I loved your energy. Yeah. I think you were good.
Our birthdays are the same.
Our birthdays are almost the same. You're September 8th, I'm September 7th.
Yes.
So immediately we clicked. We're both Virgos.
Good.
And actually, Mark, you're August 28th.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But anyway, let's move on from the birthday talk. But look, instantly I clicked to you too, because I know my mom was kind of having sort of a lonely New Year's because she was here in Colorado. I'm over here in Houston with some family and all that kind of stuff. I FaceTimed her. And she's up here in this building, and I'm like, what in the world? Where is she? This is amazing view. And then I see this guy full of energy hanging out with her. I'm like, thanks, man. Thank you for showing up and giving my mom some company. There goes the sun slowly setting on us.
We should have taken a picture of that.
It's all good. The lighting might be a little dim, but hey, we roll with the punches. We're gonna make this episode happen.
We definitely do. Yes.
Yeah. So, let's continue on with the story. I wanna get to know you because I haven't asked you too much about your past. We had a brief conversation last night, but tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Emmanuel? Tell me.
I don't normally get to do this all the time, but again, I was asked to be very transparent and open because of how important this podcast is, and to anyone who's going to listen to us. Mm-hmm. So from my accent, you can tell.
Where are you from?
I'm an immigrant, okay? I'm African. I'm from Nigeria. And, we eat a lot of spicy food. It's more of a communal environment. It's us. It's not me against you. It's us.
A team.
Yes.
Family.
So there's an adage in Africa that says the community raises a child. Mm-hmm. Not your mom, not your dad. Your neighbors look out for your kids. So when you're at work and I see your kid doing something crazy, I will be the one to discipline the child on your behalf.
Wow.
Yes, because we are our neighbor's keeper.
Wow.
So over there, what the Bible says, be your brother's keeper is actually reality. And I moved to America probably 6-7 years ago. This was after opening up. Actually, I refused to come to America. I had the opportunity to come here, but I wanted to go my own path. And I hit rock all the time. I refused to heed the advice of my mother. It's important. Mothers have a very special role they play in our lives. They have the spirit of discernment. And you will be a fool not to listen to your mother. No matter how much smart, exposed, and intelligent you think you are, there's always a reason why they came out of this world before us. They had a lot more experiences before we. So those years of experience count and they matter. So I didn't listen to my mom earlier, and I decided to go do my own thing. I met with a whole problem when I moved to Ghana, and the opportunity came for me to come to America. It took me 2 years. I wrote my SAT exam 2 times. I had to receive a recommendation from the government official, from the church, from a traditional ruler. I needed recommendation from the public. I went for like lab tests. I went for interviews, and they deemed me worthy to be in this country.
Wow.
Because they want to know that you are going to add value wherever you are. You're not going to hold the placards on the street begging for money. No, that you're actually going to improve the economy and add to the value of what the people who already live there are doing.
Be a light in the world.
Be a light in the world. And till today, I am still doing that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I moved to Colorado like a year and a half ago, and I opened a 3D printing company where you take pictures on your phone and you immortalize it. It's done with a laser etched engraving where it looks like the image is looking at you. People love that because it's more memories than garbage. And we've done pretty well. We did over $150,000 in sales 2 years ago. Thanks to COVID, I had a lot of pie on my face, almost starting all over again. But again, perspective and attitude matters in everything.
Yes, sir.
Whether you're homeless or whether you live in a castle, your mindset and thought process would help you through whatever situation, good or bad. It will keep you stable.
That's right.
Because our job as the light is to continue being stable in an unstable world. That is our job.
Yes.
It's
the
tough
mission.
for some people, and it's easier for some people, but it can be learned. So I've grown so much, and it's like a real privilege to be here with you guys.
Well, thank you for
Thank
joining us, and thank you for sharing that. That is so important because, there's so many people out there that have this inner battle,
Yeah.
They think, okay, well, I can't do it. I'm in another country. I'm not worth, to be in this other place or this other business or project. So I really applaud you for being bold and for at least giving it a try, because all you had to lose was maybe them saying no, and then you could have just gone somewhere else and start a different business.
Sure.
Absolutely. Let's time out there. We're going to go on a short break. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back to Shine. We are having a really honest and transparent conversation with Emmanuel. Thank you so much for sharing your story. At least that's the beginning. We're getting ready to share some really deep conversation here and add some value to our Shine listeners.
Absolutely. So let's start off with the first topic of today, which came up in our conversation last night, it just totally clicked to me that this is so powerful, a powerful message. So he said it. I said the concept, but he labeled it. We have to break our generational patterns that are negative in our life and detrimental to our kids, to our relationships, to our business, to all the above. So let's start off with that. How can we break the generational patterns? I mean, we briefly talked about it, but let's go ahead.
Yeah, but let's start with that little story, because that's what the reason we're here, because each one of us here has broken those generational patterns. For me, I came from, my mother was Mexican American. My father was Irish. I was
Farmers.
Both farmers, kind of industrial workers as well. So my story could have been so different. I was abandoned by my father, as a baby. My mother was dying in the hospital, very sick. I was sent to Mexico to be raised by my grandparents at their farm, and it was the biggest blessing I could have ever had, because what happened there is my grandparents took charge of me, and they shared with me their patterns of living, their values, their stories, their culture. So I was embraced with all of this, and it makes me today who I am. But what did I break? I could have been that little girl who was abandoned, the little girl who could have gone, feeling sorry for herself, the little girl who could have gone, looking for love in the wrong places, So I decided to not let that impact me 100%. It did impact me. It did change some of the things that of who I am today. But what I broke, I think, was not feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
I always try to also share the light with my family, they were like, just because we're not your parents doesn't mean we love you. And just because we're not your real parents, we are family and we're going to protect you and take care of you.
Yeah.
But there's things also that happen along the way that I could have taken a whole different route.
Yeah. Can I add something to that?
Yes.
I think what you did right, and first off, it's still a battle. We still battle with it daily. It might still come up, but we don't live there. Like Tony Robbins says, we don't live there, my man.
I like that, actually.
He says, we don't live there. They asked him, do you ever get depressed, Mr. Tony Robbins? No. Yes, I do, but I don't live there. I let it pass.
Yes.
So it may come that we feel these generational patterns. They're in us. They're our habits. But we battle every day to be better. We battle every day to let it go and to let the light come into our lives. That's the mission. So.
And so I just want to end with, I'm very grateful for my family that I grew up with, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. I mean, we have a group on WhatsApp that we connect, and we share everyday stories. Some are in Chicago, some are in Germany. I have a cousin in Germany. I have other ones in Chihuahua, Mexico. I have some in Cuernavaca.
They're all over.
Cuernavaca, Morelos is the main one, so greetings and hugs to everybody. But, we cannot use that as our baggage as we're walking along the years with that baggage and that garbage. We gotta learn to kind of let it go. Breathe, take time to deep breathe, but take time to also learn and how can we become better than yesterday. And that's what the Shine podcast is all about is what can I do today to be better than yesterday? Because there's always room for growth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my story about breaking my own generational patterns.
And we have to be accountable. You want me to tell my story?
I wanted you to be next, and then we can have our guests as well.
Okay, well, generational patterns. Wow. So, I mean, not to call my mom out, but, she has her flaws. I have my flaws. You have your flaws. We all have our flaws, right? But in a beautiful way, I don't know, maybe it was the community we were with, my family, My family has their problems. We all have our problems, but like Bruce Lee says, we take what is good, we leave what is bad, and then we add what is uniquely ours, right? That's the message. So I took the great things from you, and I learned from the bad, and then we continue to sharpen. So my mom has played a huge role, but I haven't taken everything from my mom, but I also am honest with her and saying, Mom, at the store, my mom may have gotten a little frustrated about some coupon or something, right? And I'm like, Ma, let's not be frugal in that way. Let's not let that even bring us down in any way. Let's have an abundance mindset. Let's move on. Let's handle this situation better, right?
And I loved it because that also helps me to not be so stressed about a coupon.
Yeah, but then my mom also got a little frustrated with me because I may have been a little attacky when I said, Ma, don't do that. What are you doing, Ma? So she was on his back with me, and then I reflected. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I could have said that better to my mom and corrected her or tried to sharpen her in a nicer tone.
Yes.
Right?
We're going to talk about that
in
later.
a little bit. But let's hear your story, man. Let's hear about generational patterns, your life, and how have you broken them? Are you still breaking them? Tell us about it, my man.
An apple can't fall too far from a tree.
Yeah.
So whenever we see our lives, where we are, whether we like it or not, some of that must have been because of some influence that our parents had in our lives. Sometimes our parents don't make the best decisions. Just for example, my father, growing up, he sold most of his assets rather than buying his assets. And sometimes that wasn't the best decision ever. Sometimes he wasn't the nicest dad ever. And instead of me to walk around
maybe dwelling on the negative,
feeling sorry, finding a reason to be defeated, I chose to, first of all, to forgive him. The first process for you to begin to heal yourself from generational patterns is to forgive yourself and forgive those who have played a role in those things.
Yes.
Whether you were a rape victim, or whether you were abandoned on the roadside by your parents, or whether they weren't the most supportive parents ever, you must start by forgiveness. You must get your power back by pushing forgiveness. It's the first process of healing.
Yes.
Changing yourself and working on yourself is going to be one of the most difficult things you would ever do in your life, because you're going to come face to face with am I going to be humble enough to accept the fact that I am messed up and I need to be revealed? I need to restructure my life.
I love it.
And forgiveness is the first. And you can't even go to heaven without having forgiveness, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
That is
You
powerful,
must forgive yourself. And it's important for you to have conversation with those people that has actually played a part that wasn't so good. I had very, very tough and confrontational conversation with my mom, with my dad, and when my dad was alive. And I said, listen, I'm not attacking you. This is coming out of a place of frustration and love mixed together.
Yeah.
Why did you take this decision? What was actually going through your mind? Now growing up, I look at them not with judgment, but with love, because till today, I'm faced with making decisions that, okay, that is the same thing that my dad just faced. So I would do it differently. But guess what? I understand where he was from, because now this is such a tough decision for me to make. And if I was in his shoes or in her shoes, in that context, in that reality, in that environment, with the experience they've had, I will make exactly the same decision.
Yes, sir.
So what is my job? My job is to kind of like hack into your brain to see how you can create a different experience, therefore having a different reality. Whether it is, okay, maybe if you live in Nigeria, for example, the women are under and the men are on top. Okay, what if I lived in a society that doesn't have that culture? Automatically, that reality has changed.
Of course, yeah.
So every decision I make, does it come out of fear? Does it come out of guilt? Does it come out of
Anger.
regret?
Yeah.
Yes, anger.
Yeah.
So I have to consciously look at the pattern in the life of my parents and see, okay, this is what dad did wrong. That wasn't so expressive with his love. Okay, now, how can I be different? I'm going to be much more expressive. Dad was someone who sold most of his assets. 2 years ago, I bought 2 properties in Nigeria. I'm proud of myself for that.
Investment, baby.
Why? Even if I have to eat once a day to be able to save up enough money to be able to buy a property to prove something to myself, I would do that.
Beautiful. That's
And
good.
I learned from Tony Robbins that I am not my mother. I am not my father. You are not your mom. You're not your environment. You're not what has happened to you. So I have to start psychologically and mentally breaking patterns. Oh, mom and dad were alcoholics. Mine weren't, but mom and dad were alcoholics, so I think I might be an alcoholic. No. Oh, mom and dad were farmers. Maybe I might be a farmer. No. So
Unless you want to.
Unless you want to.
Yeah.
All right? That's nothing wrong being a farmer. So I have power, and I have the power of choice to decide, am I going to do A or am I going to do B?
Yes, sir.
So that ability to have the right kind of people that says the right kind of words to you that influence your decision. Last night we were having a conversation about what you tell yourself. And as they were saying that, I was just saying good things in my mind, so that I can be able to start practicing what I'm learning on the spot. So yes, you can break generational patterns. You know, mom might have been an alcoholic. Dad might have left you when you were 3 years old, but you don't have to leave your children.
Nope.
You have that power of choice.
That's right.
Regardless of whatever is going through your mind, you can get your power back. As painful and as hurting as it is, you sure can, because I'm doing it every day.
Yes, you are.
I'm doing it every day.
What a powerful testimony.
Absolutely. And
Powerful,
it's tough.
brother.
It's
Powerful.
tough, but we are tougher. You know,
Yeah.
we're tougher.
Life
Yeah.
is not easy. You know, a lot of people, when they see me, you know, about shining my light, they're like, oh, you must have had it easy. Oh, you must have had a mom and dad there for you. Oh, you must come from a very rich family.
Yeah.
It's like they just assume things.
They judge. It's judge.
They judge. But you know what?
They
When
don't
they
know.
hear my story, because, you know, I love to share my story with everyone. I really have no filter when it comes to sharing my story, because number one, I'm very proud of it. I'm okay that my mother, you know, was so sick that I had to go to another country. I'm okay that I never met my father. But it was a battle that within myself that I had to face. I actually ended up meeting my family from my dad's side just last year in 2019 through a DNA test that I took with Ancestry.com, and that connected me with so many of the Mahoney's family that I never met. But as I got to talk to them, I am so grateful that my life is exactly the way it is and the way it was. Yes. It was, in my journey. It has made me who I am today. It has made me appreciate family and unity and the how serious it is to be a mom.
Absolutely.
Because I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through all of those things. I've raised two amazing kids, my son Mark and Alexis. They're still in that road of, getting to know who they are, but so am I. I don't think there's ever an age. And that's what I was telling Mark. In America, people, when the kids turn 18, they immediately assume they gotta walk out of the house, be on their own, and it's like, oh, you turn 18, No.
Good luck.
He's like, no, there shouldn't be an age. I believe that we brought kids to the world, so we are responsible for those little individuals and also for the big individuals. I mean, I know I'm okay if my son turns 50 and I'm in my 70s and he's calling me for advice. Or if my daughter is in her 60s and I'm in my 90s, I'm okay with her calling me because I'm their mother. I brought them to this earth. I want to be there for them no matter what age they are.
Absolutely.
But that's my mind and my thinking.
Your thought process. I have a few things to add to all of this stuff. I just want to start off with the power that we have on each other. She said, I wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't for this. And I wouldn't have been the same if she wouldn't have reflected and found accountability. We have to be accountable to ourselves. Sure, to our parents as well too, but at the end of the day, we have to love ourselves, learn to self-love. A lot of what you're talking about is learning to love yourself. Let go of the baggage, forgive the ones who have trespassed against you. This is all biblical stuff, It's all really biblical stuff. But forgive those people and so we can move forward. And we have to breathe deep, we have to learn to love ourselves, we have to develop ourselves. We can't just sit on a couch and I love myself. No, we also have to get up, show the world, shine our light with the world, make a move. We got to make the phone calls. Mom, hey, what do you think I should do? I'm struggling with this. We have to be honest with each other. Honesty is another key to self-love and self-accountability, self-trust. You got to be able to trust yourself. Because if you can't trust yourself, who are you going to trust? That's a great segue to go to, what are we talking about next? Being skeptical and doing research.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's go ahead and share your story with your experience in Texas. Go ahead with it.
Wonderful. Talking about being skeptical, right?
Yeah, skepticism,
She, a few minutes ago, she told me what it means. You have to do your research. You have to question everything you've heard, you've learned, or you might know. Things might not be as they seem. You might have like a red gown, but it might actually not be a red gown. And being able to look deeper, you might actually see something different from what is perceived to be. Earlier this year, I had like someone I met on Craigslist. I'm always going on Craigslist to look for things to sell, businesses to buy, businesses to sell, people looking for joint ventures and collaboration. If I have a little money I can add, or I can just use my man hours to work on a project. And I found this guy who told me that we can actually make a lot of money by going into a horse racing business.
In Texas.
In Texas, Grand Prairie, Texas. And in my head, I thought, okay, we're going to maybe buy horses, groom them, and sell them, and take them to the Mardi Gras. That was the idea I had. I never knew it was the word gambling.
Gambling.
It was a gamble.
I was a total ignoramus, had no idea what that meant. And I took $15,000, put it in my bank, took my bag, and teed off to Texas. And when I go to Texas, I was thinking we're gonna go to like a horse ring where you're seeing all the horses live. And we went into this huge hall that had like little screens, and we had all these guys who were like 2 to 3 times my age they were screaming and just there was so much adrenaline in the room, and they were watching horses on the screen, and what they were basically doing was betting money on the horse that was gonna win, which is gambling. And again, my ignorance, you can judge me, and that's okay.
Or you can learn from him, which is what we're doing here.
Yes, you learn from it.
So, and he had this bunch of documents and papers to show you that this horse is gonna win. This horse is old. This horse has been running for a few years. This horse is sweating. So he had like ways of seeing
algorithms.
Algorithms.
Yes, sir.
So I'm like, okay, this guy sounds intelligent. I think he knows what he's doing. So I'm gonna support him with this money, and we're gonna make a lot of money. Didn't happen. 2-3 days into Texas, all the horses that he projected was gonna win did not win. It seems like every single thing was going against the tide. I was in Texas for like a month, but in 2 weeks, $15,000 went down the drain.
Yeah.
None of the horses he projected was gonna win.
Nope.
Again, it was gamble.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
What on earth did I learn from this experience? You must have a group of people you tell the things you are going to do. Hey, what do you think about this? I'm planning to do this.
Get some advice.
Yeah.
Accountability group.
Yeah, not everybody wants you to fail. There are people that want you to succeed, by the way.
Yes.
So, if Mr. A says don't do it, Mr. B might say do it. But you must be able to gather information from these people and then make that decision yourself.
Yes.
And also
Yes,
research.
absolutely.
I suggested that you should
Absolutely.
research
I didn't
the
do
game,
that, by the way.
Right?
Yes.
Research the game. Research
Yes.
the person, because you never know. They might have a history of using people or robbing people. There's all that.
Or a
could
criminal
be,
record.
Or
for
a
all
criminal
he knows,
record.
right?
You never know. So that's so important.
Yes.
But why are we talking about this? Because sometimes also within family, we're talking about breaking generational patterns.
Yep.
Within a family too, you don't have to trust everybody. You have to research. You have to find out. You have to pay attention to the patterns that people are. A lot of child abuse happens when you are not careful with leaving your kids. I don't care if it's your aunt or uncle or even grandparents have done this. So I am very skeptical. I never left my kids with anybody, and if I did, it was somebody that I already knew for years, and I had seen and knew the patterns they were living, the type of life they were living. And of course, my mom was my biggest asset.
Oh, she was.
That I trusted my mother with my kids.
She was
when I had to go on
amazing.
big trips, your grandma was the one that took care of you. But I'm talking about those things because you have to be very skeptical, even with family.
Yes, but with a little bit of an asterisk there next to that comment. Be skeptical, do your research, but at the same time, you have to have balance with everything you do, right? With the principle of the yin yang, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's have balance. You must also not be over skeptical, not over cautious, because then you might push away actually good people that could be welcomed
lose
into your life.
opportunities as
Lose
well.
opportunities. And you can just throw it down the drain because then the skepticism becomes fear. I always say, be aware, but do not be afraid. That's one of the biggest things I live by.
I love what he said about keeping it a balance.
Yeah.
Because maybe you can find someone that could also in the future give you that opportunity to make the money. But you gotta learn to keep it balanced, do your research, find out exactly, and maybe not invest all. Because a lot of times we do invest all of
All
us.
in,
All
right?
in.
Yeah.
Oh, and I learned that was my biggest and hardest lesson this year. I should not have invested my all in some projects and things, and even some people that I met this year.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, Ma, don't forget, because we should go all in sometimes. Just trust, have faith as well.
Of course.
Right? So don't forget that we should
Of
go all
course.
in, and then sometimes we should go all in and be okay with the outcome. Depends on what it is.
Again, it's a balance.
It's a balance.
So you have to be willing to invest all and give it your all, but also be ready to lose all.
Yes.
And then be okay with it. Like you went in, all in, but guess what? You lost it all. You lost all that money that you had.
Yeah.
And for you, maybe it hurt. Yes, of course.
Yes, it did hurt for sure.
It did hurt a lot. But you learned a big lesson. So guess what? This is preparing you for all the future projects, all these people that you're going to meet. You are ready. You are smarter. You became wiser. So guess what? Was a $15 investment worth it for you to become wiser? I think so. Because now you can invest on projects, and what you're gonna get out of this is
more
gonna be
intelligent, more mature,
yes,
more
no
experienced.
price on
And
that.
back to the initial concept, accountability. He could have played the victim. Oh, and you probably were struggling for a month. He told me
Yes,
you
I
struggled
was.
with it, but you didn't quit. You know, we might find ourselves in depression, anxiety, frustration, family loss, backstabbings. You know, but we must be accountable to
Yeah.
ourselves and continue to love ourselves and never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up. Because once we do that, then it's game over. In reality, it's not game over because God is still watching over us. He's still got our backs. Even when we think we're in the drain, in the bottom of the pit, ready to end it. It's not it. It's not. I'm about to start crying saying this. But look, we can't give up. We cannot give up.
No.
He's watching. He's got your back. We've got your back. You know, all love. We got to keep the momentum of love, the positive momentum.
And that's why we're here today, because I was really on my last year. I was devastated of what happened to me the last 48 hours of 2020. I was heartbroken. I was so sad. And what happened, I didn't want to give up. I know I was broken and I was like, oh, but I prayed and I looked at this beautiful sky. I came to downtown to enjoy this beautiful scenery. And I believe that God had something for me, at least the peace that I was looking for. And that's how we met. I met you and Tehran, and it's been nothing but a blessing, and it's been such a beautiful way to start my new year, 2021. What I want to invite everyone is to never ever give up. You know, pick up your pieces, your broken heart, your broken mind, whatever, or maybe the broken bag that has no more money,
please,
right?
Yes.
And you go and you smile again, because the moment I lifted my eyes to pray, and the moment I lifted my eyes to the sky, and I took that deep breath, that everything started to fall in its place. Now, I was very lucky that it happened in less than 24 hours.
That's awesome.
Or within 48 hours, all this
That's
stuff
awesome.
started to happen. But sometimes we got to wait for days, weeks, years to get those answers. But maybe you have to wait because you're not allowing your heart to open up and be ready for those blessings that are coming your way. And we just talked about our last podcast for 2020 was about just doing it, getting up and doing it, because God is waiting for you to do something. He's giving you the people, the opportunities, but we're so busy crying or saying poor me. But when you get up and you get literally out of that PD mode or poor me mode,
victim mindset, we call it.
Then guess what? You get on and you do it, then things start to happen.
We got to meet them halfway. You know, we got to meet the universe halfway. We got to meet the positivity halfway. It's not going to happen unless you meet him halfway. You know, if you don't meet him halfway, he's just going to let you figure it out. And then once you figure it out, then he'll meet you halfway, right? So to finish it off, the final message, maybe we can add a little bit onto it, but, you know, we got to be conscious the way we're talking to each other, you know. The momentum of life, our habits, are very important to be self-aware about. We have to pay attention to the way we're talking to each other, the way we're carrying ourselves, our posture, our deep breathing. It all goes back to our subconscious. Our daily actions, our daily habits are going to reflect. And then the momentum will then continue into your future. So I like what you said earlier. Whenever we told you that little message, you're like, I'm going to start that now. I'm going to start that positive thinking now. In a video I did today, I said, if you feel so inclined, if you feel motivated and inspired to work out, do 10 push-ups right now. Show yourself that you can do it, that you can start. It's a start. You need some momentum. Started from the bottom, now we're here. You're never going to get there if you don't start from the bottom. You start from Nigeria, and then you move, you make moves.
Yes.
You have faith in God, you have faith in yourself, you love yourself. So I want to invite everybody to love themselves and learn to love themselves. Break the generational patterns. and make some amazing friends like we have today, my man.
Thank you
I'm very
so
grateful
much.
for you, brother.
Thank you.
Very grateful
Thank
for
you.
you.
And thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it's been
Thank
such
you,
an honor. Did you want to say any last words before we say?
I just wanted to encourage anyone out there listening to please forgive and begin to love yourself. Choose yourself first because you can only give what you have. So that's
Wow,
it.
that's super
Yeah.
powerful. For me, I would like to leave you thinking of your past and your story that you have lived doesn't make you who you are today necessarily.
Say it a little louder for me, Mama, so the mic can pick you
Okay,
up.
so your story, your past doesn't have to be
Define you.
today and who you are today. So you can break those generational patterns. Change.
Break the chains.
Yes. Become the person you were intended to be, the person that God made you to be. And love yourself more than ever, as we've been saying this, because the moment you love yourself, you will have the courage and the energy that you need to pick yourself up from whatever just broke you, and will help you lead you to the right path, the right journey that you are meant to be.
The righteous
So,
path.
Continue to let your shine
Your light shine.
glow and
Yes.
lead you in those dark moments, because that light that God put in you, because it's in you, in all of us, is gonna help you, and I've said this many times, is gonna help you and guide you through to a successful future.
Absolutely.
So until next time, we'll see you soon. Shine bright, and don't let anything or anyone ever stop you from shining the light that God intended you to glow.
Thanks for being on the show, Emmanuel.
Thank you for having me. Thank you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Thank you guys.
My
Thank
man.
you.
Keep shining. Adios, my friends.
Un beso.
Lift your